Hi, my name is Gary White. I'm the founder of High Definition Coaching, and I welcome you to join me in a unifying conversation. Today more than ever, we need to be active in unifying conversations. Unity is forged through empathy, it's sustained by selflessness, it's seen through our service to others, and it really begins with the influencers. And that's why we need to be having these conversations. Now let's get started. Hey, welcome everyone to this next episode of Unifying Conversations. And I certainly hope that you've been inspired up to this point to have those unifying conversations yourself. My name's Gary White. I'm the founder of High Definition Coaching, and I'm an executive coach with the John Maxwell team. And it's my privilege to have with me today my friend Shawte Price. Shawte, welcome.
Thanks, Gary. I'm glad to be here.
Now, Shawte and I, Shawte, we've not known each other that long, actually. We actually met in a virtual environment. But what I want all of you to know is that Shawte had quite an impact on me just in that time that we came together. And I reached out to him later and I let him know what I was doing with these unifying conversations and what the intent was and what it was all about. He said, yeah, let's sit down. And that immediately begins to speak to the character and the person that Shawte is. So Shawte, again, thank you for being here today. And why don't we start out, Shawte, just tell the listeners just a little bit about yourself.
As Gary said, my name is Shawte. I'm from Michigan, actually Grand Rapids, which is on the west side of the state. I grew up, in a typical family where I come from, and I was a good kid, but then I made some life-altering decisions based on my environment. And what happened with that, it took me down the wrong road, and I ended up in prison.
Wow.
And once I got there, I had a decision to make. Either I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing, or I'm going to change or redirect the remainder of my life. I chose the latter. And from there, I consider myself as a lifelong learner. I love connecting with people and being able to learn new things and apply those things to my life so that it could be better. And so today I'm here with Gary because of that decision years down the line. And hopefully I'll be able to share something that will be able to help your viewers.
Wow. Shawte, so immediately, and you had shared this part with me before, whenever we first spoke. And I definitely want us to have some opportunity for you to share more of that and more of what that transformation was like. But let me ask you this, Shawte, we all are where we are in life because of some influence. There's somebody that's influenced. There's no decision any of us makes. It's not a result of some kind of influence. And so I'm just interested. You've had quite a path in life, and then turned the corner, and now you are where you are today. And I'm just curious, who's been the biggest influence in your life? If you could point to one person, or maybe it's a couple of people, I don't know, but who's had the biggest influence on your life?
I would have to say for me, it's going to be two people, and you'll see why. So the first one is, of course, my mother. My mother, she raised 5 of us, and she taught me how to have compassion on people and how to see the best in people at all times. Now, although I made decisions contrary to what she taught me the right things to do. I decided to do what I wanted to do. And that's part of my process now, because I know I could hear it in her voice, that disappointment when the decisions I made led me to where I was. And that didn't feel good at all. Even trying to be tough and, I got to do what I have to do, all that stuff. I felt that because this is my mother. This is the lady who raised me. So, and then the other person would be my father, who wasn't in my life. You know what I'm saying? So that's the juxtaposition there, the loving mother who's always been there, and then the father who wasn't. Because, and what he taught me is that now that I have now 3-year-old daughter, is that uh, I want to always be there, and I can take those lessons uh, of that, after reflecting, being in prison and being able to reflect and see. Now I'm able to take those lessons and say, what do I want to do? What do I need to do so my daughter doesn't feel like I wasn't there for her growing up?
Wow. Wow. So, Shawte, you're no stranger to what's going on in our world today and what we've been seeing uh, in the racial tensions. And I've been sitting down with friends, and you and I have not known each other very long, but I've been asking the questions of my friends, and I want to ask the question of you as well. What has been your experience? Because as a white man, I have, I grew up with black friends, and I can remember a time whenever there was a little bit of a racial something happened at my elementary school, and I stood with my black friends. I thought, well, I don't know what's wrong with the rest of y'all, but these are my friends, and so
Mm-hmm.
I've had a certain view of life, and that's been a certain reality for me. And I'm learning um, that people of color don't necessarily have that same experience in life. It hasn't always been great, and so I'm just interested. And let me just be silent and give you the microphone and let you talk to me about what your experiences have been.
Yeah, of course. I've had those experiences. Oftentimes, just especially with the what's going on now, uh, I've recognized it more, like with a lot of past experience where I might have just, because of life, not really paid attention and just, or was just like, whatever. And then I'm able to look back now and like, that's what that was. But I would have to say, uh, absolutely had the experiences where, uh, especially as a young black man, uh, I know going to try to get my first job. You know what I'm saying? And I had at that point I had long hair all my life, literally all my life, and for someone to tell me that I have to cut my hair to be able to apply for a job. So so now this is going to surprise you though. It was a black man that told me that.
Uh,
Now, looking back, I can see now I get what he was saying, but as a kid, you need to be able to relay that message of why. You see what I'm saying?
I do.
And so I just brought that one up first just to kind of give some perspective, because we don't oftentimes because of how things have been done in this country, it isn't always black and white. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of why I brought that up.
Okay.
And that's a story I often share with people. And like I say, I don't fault him, but like I say, as a young man, you need to be able to relay that message. Like I say, I had long hair all my life. I had never thought about cutting my hair
Yeah.
as growing up. And I was probably like 15 at that time, trying to get my first job. But other instances, just in general, going into stores and realizing that you know, someone's looking and watching me and things like that. And, you know, you kind of get uncomfortable because you don't have that type of intent. Your intent was coming in the store to
Yeah.
purchase something, period. And
Right.
I get it. But what we don't realize is I remember a show, I can't think about what the show was, but they had an episode where the store manager, they went to the store manager was following the black kid around. So what the kid did is she went and got one of her white friends. And as the store manager was following her around, the friend was stealing stuff. And it was all on camera. And so basically after that, the owner of the store comes, sees the video, and the person gets fired. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And uh, that was a good show, but too often that's not reality. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
I hear you.
part of the problem is, and you've said this, it's communication. It's just we need to sit down and speak. Because me personally, you don't have to like me. You don't have to. That's your choice. You have a right not to like me. But if we're in a world, in a city, in a town that we have to live together, there has to be some type of mutual respect for us to be able to live. Just live.
Yeah.
I shouldn't not want to go on one side of town because of how I'm going to be treated.
You're right.
But if we have the mutual understanding and respect of one another, even if you don't like me, I can come on the other side of town if I need to do shopping or whatever I might need to do. So I think the key is communication, and we don't do that enough. There's people in the United States that have only seen black people on TV. It's just the reality. You know, because we have small towns, and being incarcerated, I ran into people like that, literally.
Really?
Yes, all they heard was they heard the things about black people and what they may or may not do to you. But then when we were forced to be in a situation like prison, guess what? We had to communicate. And oftentimes those people, not all, but those people realized that guess what I was told was a lie,
Yeah.
you know. And now that I have this opportunity to engage this person, they're just like me, you know. So like I say, that's the key. And I thank you for doing what you're doing, because you're kind of facilitating that communication aspect with these unifying conversations, because this is what's needed. Like I say, we don't have to agree on everything. We have different perspectives. My respective perspective is different as a black man in America, because what America has done, not everybody in America, you know, but that's just the reality. And so we don't have to try to sweep the past under the rug. Does everyone a disservice in America. And too often that's what we do. We try to sweep the past in the rug. But if you take hold of the past, and like me, I don't sweep my prison experience under the rug. That does me no good, and it does anyone I come in contact any good. I always put that up front. I let people know when I get into conversations, when the opportunity presents itself, hey, this is who I am. This is what happened to me. But now I'm on a different path. That's part of my past, and I'm not going to let it hold me back. But as I move forward, of course, I have to utilize that as a springboard sometimes, because it helped make me who I am today.
Yeah. Wow. Shante, you bring up such a good point of how black people have been categorized. What you were explaining is there's a categorization that's been taking place. And even though myself growing up, like I said, I had black friends. We played, and uh, I see them today and throw my arms around them.
Go to uncle. Go ask uncle.
Yeah, when we're getting a sausage biscuit somewhere, hey Stephen, how's it going? I throw my arms around them. But not every black person's uh, experience is the same in life. Not every white person's experience, and yet there tends to be a categorization, isn't that true?
Yeah, absolutely.
And wow, you just uncovered. I never really looked at it that way. And of course, I had no idea. I had no idea that there are people that have only seen black people on television. They've never. I mean, that was complete. That was a foreign idea to me. I'd never realized it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And it's like, uh, I'm, you know why though it's foreign though? Because I'm going to tell you, we live in America, right?
Yeah,
That's inconceivable,
yeah,
but it's true. You
wow,
know, it's just true. And like I say, people respond based on what they heard. We look at the climate today. It's like, it's the same thing. It's like, it's, I only believe what I believe. You have a right to that.
yeah,
And I heard somebody say, uh, you have a right to your own opinion, but you don't have a right to your own truth. That's a fact. You can have your own opinion, but you don't have the right to truth. Truth is truth at the end of the day. You can't get around it. You can all what do they say? A half truth is a whole lie.
yeah,
There's no middle ground. Especially if we say that we're this godly nation. You know what I'm saying? If we say that's what we are, there's an expectation even out of this country that we would be that. And right now in the climate of America, those looking from the outside in, they're not seeing that. And a lot of people just don't care because they want it their way, you
yeah,
know. And as I said, you have a right to that at the end of the day, but who is it really helping? Is it helping you, or is it helping us as a country?
yeah. Wow, that's good, Shante. Um, so, Shante, if you were to write out a prescription uh, of how we would bring unity into our communities, how we would build unity, uh, well, if you were to write that script out, what would that
Mm-hmm.
look like? What would that look like?
uh, the first thing would have to be a dose of discovery. I think that's foundational because opinions are, like I said, opinions are okay, but we have to get down to the reality of who people are. Uh, Years ago, I believe it was Ice Cube. He did this show called Black and White, where he took a white family and a black family, and they did their makeup so that it was reversed, and they went into situations that the other culture wouldn't normally go into. And it was an interesting concept, you know what I'm saying, to be able to, and the people walked away with a different understanding of one another, because now I'm in an environment I'm not used to, and I'm meeting people I'm not used to meeting, and so now I have a choice to make. Do I engage so I can get a clarity on it, or do I just reject? And oftentimes they engaged, and they were surprised at the outcome because they had never been in that situation. So the first part most definitely is discovery. We have to, like I said, you don't have to like me, but we have to be able to understand each other in some light. It don't have to be for you to completely agree, but you have to be able to understand one another in some light. Like I say, I experienced it because of the situation I put myself in. And that was period. I've met people from all over the world just being even in that situation. So that's the most definitely the first thing. It has to be that if you can't do that, I think even starting with the conversations, it's okay. But if you can't get to the discovery point, the conversations too often, we've seen it. They turn to nothing.
Yeah,
So most definitely that's the beginning of it. And uh, I could say more, but I think we just have to get to that discovery. It's whether it's reading books. I had to learn to read books I wouldn't normally have gravitated toward or wanted to read, honestly. You know what I'm saying? That's part of it. That's the discovery process. Read a book about the culture, about people who are writers in the culture. You know, all that stuff. You know,
Mm-hmm.
uh, uh, music. Listen to the music. Uh, Being incarcerated, and a lot of times, often being in rural areas and jails and stuff, you hear country music. Country music isn't different than anything else if you listen to the music. You know what I'm saying? Because music is about people relaying their heart and their conditions uh, uh, in life.
Yeah.
You know, and I found that out. There's no different. It's just something I wasn't exposed to per se and things like that. Even with that, there's a lot of black country singers.
Yeah.
People just don't know. Even black people don't know. Honestly, they're there. There's more lately, but there's some from 20, 30 years ago, literally. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There was an award show not too long ago, and one of the recipients that received the award at the Country Music Awards or something like that, she even mentioned one lady. I can't think of her name, but I had never heard of her.
Okay.
You know, so you know, it's there. I think with technology today, we have all the opportunity for that discovery process. We just need to take advantage of it, or have somebody like yourself to facilitate the starting of those conversations to get to that discovery stage.
Yeah. I love that. A good dose of discovery. And by the way, Charlie Pride was one of my favorites. I I was raised up on country music. I really was, and me and my dad, we loved to listen to Charlie Pride. He was amazing.
Yeah.
He could do it. Uh, so, I was talking with a friend the other day in Panama City Beach, and he's from Chicago, and he talked about, he said something to me that just caught my attention, and he said, when you see an uproar out of any community, when you see an uproar, it's generally the result of a long period of time of not being heard. So I think there's some wisdom in what he has said, and I'd like for you to speak into that, Shawte, because um, I think it lends itself to the critical nature of these conversations, the critical nature of what you called, and I was typing it in whenever you said it. I was open my notes and write that in. Dose of discovery. I love that. I think there's not enough of that, and I believe perhaps we create in society, maybe even we create some of these situations because there's such a long period of people not being heard, not having a voice. And so just speak into that for just a moment. I'd love to hear your perspective on that.
Yeah. Uh, Smart friend. I need to meet him.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I like
he's
to hear
absolutely
yeah.
he's right on point. And uh, there's a saying that goes pressure bust pipes. That means when the pressure builds up, guess what? That pipe will burst open, and guess what? You got water or whatever everywhere. And that's what's been happening in my community. Uh, 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 what people too often see, they say, well, what people are quick to say is, well, you got this, you got that, y'all have this opportunity, you have this. But the thing is this: if I take a child and I abuse that child for, say, 12 years. So this child is 12 years old. I've been abusing this child for 12 years. Now this child has been taken away from me, and they've been away from me, say, for 5 years. You would not say that that child is okay. I don't think anyone in their right mind would say, oh, they're okay. It's been 5 years, they're okay. No. And that's what people are saying with the black community. They're saying, okay, well, you have this since the 50s, the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Act, all these things you have, whether, they're saying you have all these things, you should be okay now. But how long were we in the position we were in? For hundreds of years. And that goes back to what I was saying earlier. People want to sweep the past under the rug. We can't do that. We have to get to that discovery. And after we get to the discovery, we can get to development. That's the second stage, that development. Because now we can, as a whole, we can begin to do more. At my job, we can't be effective by ourselves. We're a team. When we go to install our equipment in a restaurant, we need to do it as a team, because guess what? I can't by myself. I can't get up in the ceiling and pull these hoses. It's impossible. I just can't, because I need someone to push, and then I can push and pull. That's teamwork. And for any endeavor to be successful, that has to happen eventually. You know what I'm saying? We in America, we're quick to say how great our country is. Overnight, anytime. Oh, we're great, we're great, we're great, we're great, we're great. But is it just great for you? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a good.
And that's too often, that's what people say. I'm saying that's your perspective, but that's what people say too often. When they're saying this country is great, they're saying it's great for them. What about me? you see? And so that's why it's important what your friend said. You know what I'm saying? Because exactly that's what it is. When we want it our way, we even play with words. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So because I want it my way, so I can play with the word. But when you play with the word, no, this is what the word means. Love means this. But then when I want to talk about love, I'm not gonna pay attention to what love really is, because it's my turn to speak. It's my situation. And that's a bad thing, because it goes back to what I said earlier. You're entitled to your own opinion, but you're not entitled to your own truth. And so if no one will ever understand the statement that your friend made unless we get down with each other. You know what I'm saying? And we say, if I can say, you know what, if I can say, I know what was done to my people as a whole, which is over hundreds of years. If I can say, okay, I get that. I'm not happy with that. It makes me angry. But even within that, can I say, but for it to work for us as a whole, we need to have conversations, and we need to make better decisions as a whole. Only then can it be great for us all.
Yeah. Yeah, Shawte, to add to that, I had a friend the other day also tell me, he said, America is not, and the idea of America and equality for all is not a marathon. It's a relay race. It's something where you're constantly passing it on. And so this, what's known as the American experiment, right? It's something that never really, it should never really stop. We should never stop striving for America to be great. And so I'd like to say this. This is a thought that came to my mind. I never thought of it until you were talking about the greatness of America and what people are really saying. But I thought, America is great because of the greatness that is in every person in America. And boy, if we could flip the visual of America being great to because of the greatness of every individual, I know that just switched that turned a light on in me when you said that.
Hmm.
I thought, there's a reason. There's only one reason that American can be great, and that's because of the greatness of the people, and them
Yes.
having that opportunity to express their greatness, right? And that's what's going to make America so good, I think.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm saying even that, just think about when we think about nations and how long they've been around, we're like an infant, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're infants. We want to say we rule the world, but what infant doesn't? you know, but even that, it's just that reality. That's just the reality. We haven't always been here.
Yeah.
And just being able to, we too often when we take hold of certain ideas, we typically lose perspective of reality sometimes. It just is. When I decided that I wanted money, cars, clothes, women more what I than what I was taught was right, I lost perspective of reality
Wow.
because I only wanted what I wanted. And when we do that, we don't we drive over people. We walk over people.
Mm-hmm.
We bully our way through the crowd
Yeah.
because at that moment I'm laser focused on what I want and what I want alone.
Wow.
So
Shawte, I'm telling you what, that's all the time we've got on this, and I want you to stay on. So when I end the recording, you and I talk some more. But
yeah.
I am loving talking to you, man. You have got such incredible insight, and I believe you've got an ability to lead and influence masses of people to a better life. I believe you've got a voice, Shawte, that can make such a difference in people's lives, and I can really see the impact that you would have, especially on those that may have gotten life out of perspective. And I'm not going to put an age limit on that.
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah.
think there's no age limit to when we can get life out of perspective.
Yeah.
And
If I may,
yeah, please.
Gary, one of my greatest experiences. So it's this guy. It's big old white guy, big guy.
Yeah.
He has all these. He has Nazi signs, swastikas, all this stuff on his arm.
Yeah.
He was an amazing man. To tell the story of how he didn't consider somebody like me nothing at once upon a time. Uh, and just how the life he had lived and how he had grown up, and he was a Christian, gave his life over to God, and he changed it. And even though he had all that, I'm telling you, he had them everywhere. But to hear him tell a story of how he was changed and how his perspective changed because of what God did in his life, it was just amazing. But and just on top of that, it was just the stories about how he would view me if he was still that other person, but now how he views me as a brother, and how he could hug me. That was one of the greatest experiences I had,
Wow.
being in prison.
That's huge. That is amazing. And that's a testament to transformation.
Yes.
And Shawte, you and I are going to get to operate together in what John Maxwell is calling "change your world."
Oh yeah,
And,
I'm so ready for that.
yeah, and I'm looking forward to standing with you in this effort to really change our world. And what a blessing it's been for you to be on this episode today. And Shawte, tell everyone viewing how they can reach you and how they could get a hold of you, because I know they're going to want you to come talk to their people.
Yeah, absolutely. You can find me Shawte, Shawte Price, on all the social media platforms: Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter. Absolutely. And you can and there you'll find a link to my website and all that. You can also reach out to me with my email. It's Priceless Encounters. So it's N without the E. So Priceless Encounters at gmail.com. And yeah, if anything I can do to help anyone or just want to have a conversation, just reach out to me and we'll make it happen.
Right on. And listen, you can reach me at Gary@highdefinitioncoaching.com. Gary@highdefinitioncoaching.com. And if you're not able to locate Shawte for whatever reason on some of social media, but I can tell you he's out there. But if you can't, reach out to me and I'll make sure that you get hooked up with Shawte. Thanks, everyone. Take care. Shawte, hang on after I get the recording.
All right.
Take care, everyone.
Hey, thanks for joining us today. If you would like to know how you can have your own unifying conversations, or if you would like to contact us for more information about high definition coaching, we can be contacted at Gary@highdefinitioncoaching.com. Gary@highdefinitioncoaching.com. I hope you have a unified day, and we'll see you next time.